first of all, I want us to talk about this tournament itself. Like, are you surprised by the performance of like the Team Ghana?
Well, I think I'm not so surprised. If I should be honest, I'm not so surprised. Some of us really saw this happening. Let me put it that way, because preparation wise, obviously it wasn't there. It wasn't top notch. I mean, it's always been the situation, getting the girls, camping them in Pram Pram, and maybe 2 weeks to the tournament, we travel, play 1 or 2 matches, and we are done. And that's always been the case. I mean, you can cast your mind back since we made our debut in 2010. It's been always the case. And sometimes I think we overly get excited whenever we see our squad and our players available for the U20 tournament. This is because I think most of the times, I mean, we see these players at the under 17 level where they normally excel. Under 17, when it comes to the women's game, under 17 will always be the only successful team, especially after winning the 20 bronze in 2012. And obviously they've also made it out of the groups twice. And so anytime we get to the under 20 level and see the kind of squad we will be parading in the competition or at the World Cup, we tend to be excited because we feel we have a lot of talent in the squad. I mean, in 2012, in 2010, we had Samira Suleimana, we had Florence Dawson. I mean, these were talent. We had Edema Tobo. You can fast forward 2012. We had the likes of Jennifer Kujo, Elizabeth Kujo. Same. It's been the same. And even the last edition of the under 17. I mean, we had Mukarama in there. We had a lot of these girls playing at under 20 level. Grace Banwa was there. I mean, Anastasia Chan was there. They were all part of the under 17 team that went all the way to the quarterfinal in the last edition of the under 17 FIFA World Cup. And so seeing them in the under 20 squad was always going to raise our hopes high. We were always going to think we had the team that could actually make an impression at the World Cup. But it's not the case. I mean, we are always going to face, I mean, a difficult side, like the US team, for instance. These are college girls. I mean, they've been playing together for a very long time. They've been playing college football for a long time. I mean, and I think one other reason is also for the fact that our players, we feel our players play at the top level when it comes to women's game in Ghana. And so this should tell you that even our women's game in Ghana is not that top as we see it. Because if our top players in the women's league, I mean, come up against these college girls in the States and all that, I mean, they're unable to match them. And so obviously our game here is not that top as we might think. So I think all these things plays, I mean, major roles or factors that actually seems to, I mean, affect our performance whenever
our inability to perform. So,
exactly.
so it's obvious that for you were not expecting. It would have been a miracle from your side if Ghana moved out of the group.
Obviously, because yes, as a Ghanaian, I was hoping we would. I mean, for the first time, I mean, after 6 successive trials, for the first time, we could at least get past the group stages. I was hoping. It was just hopes, but then it was always going to be difficult coming up against USA, coming up against the defending champion Japan, coming up against the Netherlands. The Netherlands beat us in the last edition of the competition 4-0. So it was always going to be difficult playing against them this time around. But then I was hopeful. I mean it's football, so obviously anything could happen when you get to the pitch. So I was just hopeful. But then on reality, it was always going to be difficult. I wasn't expecting anything more than what they're actually doing now.
Well, we have a dog chance now. I think we have to beat Netherlands by somewhere with a lot of margins. Like, still, are you the ever?
Well, that we could only hope, and we could only hope, because if you think you can beat a Netherlands side that actually trashed USA by 3-0. Yes, Netherlands lost their first game against Japan 1-0. And if you watch that game, I mean, they were excellent. They played good football. It was quite unfortunate they lost that game by 1-0. They came out, against USA, who actually defeated us 3-0. They came up against them, beat them by 3-0, and they did play some good football. And so you're thinking you could actually, and it's not as if we can only beat them 4-0 and we are through. We should actually make sure or pray that the other games also go in favor of us. Meaning Japan has to beat the United States by a huge margin. So we are not only dependent on the fact that we can't beat, it's football. We can't beat the Netherlands by 4-0. But what happens to the next game? I mean, our hopes also lies there. So I mean, in as much as we might be raising our hopes and maybe praying that something will happen, obviously it's a tough.